Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be wrapping up what I've read so far in August, as well as my plans for September. So this has been kind of a slightly odd time because I am going on holiday for 3 weeks at the end of August and through into the midpoint of September. So I thought if you didn't hear it now, you're never gonna hear it. So this is like a holiday TBR, and yeah, mixing the end of August into September, and then probably some ideas for when I get back as well from holiday. So a whole range of things that I'm going to be covering in this video. I'm currently filming this on the 25th of August, and I've only finished 2 books this month so far. So we're a little bit behind, we're a little bit slow, but we're still moving along, and I've got a lot of things where I am close to finishing, and I have like a day and a half before I leave, and I'm like, could I finish 3 books in a day and a half? How much reading can I do whilst also packing, working and being busy and needing to edit all three videos? So I think I've been a little bit too ambitious here, but it is what it is. So I thought I would run through what I've read in August, the limited amount that I've read and the things that I've been working on, and then I will run through my ideas for my holiday and September. So in August, I have read Lady of Embers by Melissa K. Rorich, the 4th book in the Lady of Darkness series. This is a fantasy romance series that is quite heavily modelled off of Sarah J. Maas and Throne of Glass. We're following our main character Scarlet, who is an assassin, and at the beginning of the 1st book, she has taken some time out after some traumatic events that you get to see as the course of the book goes on, but the assassin lord has brought her back into the fold with a task that she cannot refuse because it is relating to the person that murdered her mother. And as the series goes on, we realise that the world is a lot bigger than that she's been brought up in the human world, but there are actually fae and different other magical characters within this, that our character potentially has a lot more going on for her than what meets the eye. We follow different royalty, different fae powers as things go awry. So I have been, in the most part, enjoying this series. I don't think it's as strong as Throne of Glass, but I have been enjoying it, and I'm definitely intrigued to see how it's all going to wrap up. I just have the 5th and final book to read, maybe in September, but I think that might be a little bit ambitious because this book comes out just as I leave, but I'm not going to get it in time, and then when I get back I've got so many plans. So we'll see, but definitely in the near future, Lady of Starfire. But yeah, so far I did enjoy this one. It did take me quite a while to read. It is quite long, it's just under 600 pages, but it did take me a long time to read this one. And then the other one, which is similar I guess because it's a fantasy romance, is The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk by Carissa Broadbent. Again, quite a long one. This one again was like 500 pages, so what I have finished, or 540 pages, what I have finished has been on the chunkier side of things. This one is the 4th book overall in the Chronicles of Neaxia, and the 2nd book in the Nightborn duet. Oh no, in the Shadowborn duet, sorry. The 1st book is the Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is a vampire-centered fantasy story. In the 1st book, we're following a main character, Araya, who enters into these sets of trials. She is a human that has been raised in the vampire world with the ambition that she will ask a boon from the goddess if she wins these trials to become a vampire herself, because that is her greatest ambition. And it's quite a bloodthirsty, cutthroat world. And then there's a romantic element because potentially there's somebody in these trials that might have a bit of an interest in her, or her and him as well. We're following a very different part of the world and 2 different male-female protagonists. In this book, the female protagonist we meet in that first duology, and then we get to see her journey. This one we are exploring a lot more of the underworld and what happens to people when they die in this world. I did enjoy this. I don't think I enjoyed this duology as much as the first one, but I did still continue to enjoy this, and I really like the way that the vampires are done in this, and the world, the creation, the way that gods and goddesses are mixed in. I really enjoy those elements, and Carissa Broadbent's writing style in general, I find it quite compulsively readable, so would recommend her as an author in general, and excited to see where the next duology goes. So those are the 2 that I finished. At this point, I have 3 books on the go, which I am close to finishing. I just need to get myself into gear a little bit over the next day to hopefully finish these off. And you should have seen, I believe before this video I will have posted a little vlog of reading some of the books that have been on my TBR the oldest, and a couple of these are in there. I should just mention that another book that was in that vlog is Court of Miracles by Kester Grant, which I have DNF'd, and I got like 50 pages into that one and decided that I wasn't going to continue on with it, so put that one aside. But I have been continuing on with the other books that I was reading in that vlog, so because I was having a positive experience with them, so I can't quite do a full wrap up but at this point, but hopefully you'll have seen that vlog and I'll have managed to have finished these before I go away and wrapped it all up and done all these things. The first of these being Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. So I'm 200 pages into this one. I have about 80 pages to go. So in this we're following my character Maggie Hosky, and she is a monster hunter. So this is a dystopian world which is near futuristic or near future, and the indigenous populations had built up this giant wall and that protected them when there was these big cataclysmic earth events and flooding and natural disasters, and so their land ended up being protected and the land outside of this wall got destroyed in some way. There is still some civilization outside of it, but not to the same extent. However, within this wall there are these monsters and there is magic and things at play, and depending on which indigenous heritage you come from, you could end up with different magical powers of some kind. And we're following Maggie, who is a monster hunter, and the sort of quest that she's going on to get rid of some of these monsters. So I have been enjoying this one. I did end up like getting a bit distracted by some things, so it's been a couple of days since I've picked this one up, but I do need to just wrap this one up. And then the one that I got distracted by was Kavithri by Aman J. Bedi, which I am currently about 2/3 of the way through, page 290 of 430. So I've got like 140, 150 pages to go in this one, but I have made some good progress in this one earlier today. So we're getting there. This one I was actually sent by Glance. This one I was sent by my friend Ariel, I think for my birthday in 2021. So that's why, old books. This one actually isn't so old, but it was actually by Glance a while ago. I put it on so many TBRs and I was like, you're just gonna have to read this. And so we're following main character Kavithri, Kavi, who is part of the Timu population. I don't know if that's the correct way of saying it. Timu makes me think of that discount online shop, and she has a dream and a plan. She's trying to re-find her family after being separated from you. She sort of has quite a murky past, so you're not really trusting her what she's telling you about her past, because it seems like she's forgotten bits of it. But her people and herself are really downtrodden within society, that they're fully looked down upon, they're hated, they're ostracized, and just her living and breathing, it means other people just hate her. She doesn't really seem to understand that, but she just wants to carve out a place for herself within this world, and her ambition is to enter into this like Jinn training academy, because she believes that they have an artifact that will help her look for her family, and it is her trying to find the best way to achieve those goals, with everyone beating her down. I have been enjoying it for the most part. And then the final one that I am in the middle of, and I have about 200 pages left. This is really ambitious for the next day or so, considering how slow I've been. I am 792 pages into, so about 800 pages into Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. So a lot of progress here as well. I have about 200 pages left, or 3 hours in the 2x speed audiobook. This is the final book in the Throne of Glass series, which I've been gradually reading by audio this year and having a great time with. I would like to get this one just wrapped up. It's all built, it's all just at this climax. I just have adored this. It's a fantasy romance series with such a strong fantasy plot line. Reading this has made me realise like when fantasy romance is good, it can be so good. And this is like the itch that I am always trying to find in other fantasy romance series, and just very rarely finding. I'm having a great time rereading this one, so hopefully in the next couple of days these will all be finished and I'll have a much bigger completed pile for August. But that is before I leave. So that's sort of wrapping up where I'm at. Now looking at things for the next I guess, week or so as soon as I depart on that 13-hour flight to Tokyo, and the things that I would potentially get up to reading whilst I am there. So obviously it's hard to predict how much I'm going to be reading whilst I'm there, because I'm going to be exploring. I'm going to be just living my best life, hopefully, and enjoying my time in Japan. But there will definitely be times where I am travelling around, so I've got that very long flight. We'll be taking some of the trains between the different cities, so there is scope for some reading. There's also just no work, so at some point I must hopefully do some sitting down and relaxing and just enjoying being on holiday and away. So my plan is to not take many physical books with me so that I can save space. I can optimise for buying things, because I feel like there are so many things that I might want to buy there. So I have picked out a couple of books which I thought I could take with me, that if I just take 2 books with me that are physical, that are paperbacks, it's not too much room, and that should be good. In terms of physical books that I'm planning to take with me, I am planning at this moment to take Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. I figure if I take this with me, I have to read it. I've had this book on so many TBRs, and actually if I just take it, if this book just comes with me, then it will have to be read. That there's nothing that would stop me from reading this one and just dedicating my time to reading it. So following that logic, I'm taking Best Served Cold, which is a grim, dark, revenge-centered story. I'm following this character as she tries to get revenge on people. It's the first of the standalones. I've planned to read it since like November last year, and here we are in September of 2025. So here we go. That is one of them, and I'm thinking, if this is the book that's with me, this is the book I will read. I'm also thinking of taking Paladin Strength by T. Kingfisher, which is the next book in the Paladin series, just to really counterbalance this one. This is like a cozy fantasy romance. We're following another one of the Paladins. So in the first book we follow Stephen, who is a Paladin, and at the start of the book, the god that they worship and praise dies, is killed, and suddenly they are bereft and don't know what to do with themselves now that the person they have worshipped is no longer around. And in that one he meets Grace, who is a perfumer, and then there's sort of like a murder mystery plotline that goes through it. I expect that there will be some sort of romantic elements going through this one as well for one of the other paladins that are potentially in the group that we meet in the first book. That is for the other one, to really balance out the grimness of this one. And then for the rest of it, I recently got myself a new Kindle because I was like, this could be a really good investment for this trip. I did have an old Kindle. It does still work, but it's like 10, 15 years old. And I was like, well, it's still working, it's fine. But then I never really used it. So I thought if I got myself a new one, it would encourage me to use it. So I have been collecting a few things on here. As I've just bought this, I have 3 months of Kindle Unlimited. And I also have requested some new ARCs, advanced reader copies from NetGalley that I have received on here. So I can work my way through books that I have on Kindle Unlimited and ARCs. In terms of the ARCs, I have got 2 of them through so far. So I've got the Summer Walk by Naomi Novik. This is her latest release, which is coming out in September, I believe it is. I'm not too actually sure much of the plot. I believe it is just a novella. I think we'll just have to leave it there for that description, which is awful. I'm really sorry. But maybe when you come back in for my September wrap up, I'll be able to update you more on my thoughts on it. I then also have All That We See or Seem, which is Ken Liu's new release. So I have read and loved Ken Liu's Grace of Kings Dandelion Dynasty series. So I read those 4 books a couple of years ago now and had a great time, loved them. So when I saw that he had a new release coming out, I jumped on it. This one is coming out October, November, potentially. And it is a sci-fi, and I think the start of a sci-fi series, so a little bit different to his fantasy. And I've heard that it is quite a fast-paced, different feel to The Grace of Kings. I think I did see an interview where he said like after The Grace of Kings, he really needed a break and a change of pace, a change of scene. So those are the 2 that I've got so far. I have also requested one that I own physically already, The Isle in the Silver Sea by by Tasha Suri, which is going to be her newest release. This one comes out in October. It is a standalone. It's a heart-shattering romantasy of sapphic longing, medieval folklore, and a love that spans the centuries. And I think we're following a knight and a witch, and they are destined to fall in love and doom each other over and over again. And it's the same tale retold over hundreds of lifetimes, and we see them trying to break this cycle. This one was also available for me to request the eARC for, but I have already got this physically, so we'll see if they approve for that as well. So those are the arcs that I have on my radar and the things that I have requested there. Although I have also noticed, whilst browsing on Kindle Unlimited, that there are quite a few books that I have on my physical TBR that are available on Kindle Unlimited. So I have got those as possibilities as well. Definitely will not be getting to all of them, but I have them downloaded, they're possibilities. And it could just be a win-win that when I go back from holiday, I have actually read some of my physical TBR and not just other random things. One that I think is a priority is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. This one I've had on my radar to read anyway. This is the first book in the Witchland series. I have read this one already. This would be a reread. And I have thought about potentially doing this on audio as well, but then I saw it was on KU, so I decided to download that. So this is I believe YA, although like upper YA fantasy series. We follow two female friends, and one of them is a truth witch, which is a very highly coveted power within this world, and they are on the run because powerful people are seeking Safi for this power and want to use her. So I would really like to get back into this series because it is concluding later on this year. And then otherwise, the other ones I'm just going to touch on very quickly. These are the ones that I could spot or that I found relatively quickly on KU. There might be other ones on my physical TBR that are on there, but at least it's given me some options. So Upon a Burning Throne by Asha K. Banker is on there. The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman, which is the first book in quite a long series, but that one was on there. The Principle of Moments by Esme Jakimi Pearson. Dragon Mage by M.L. Spencer, and Fury Born, which I forgot to get down from the bookshelf, by Claire Legrand. All of these are on Kindle Unlimited. They're all, I believe, starts in series, so it does not help with that goal, but they are things that I have had on my physical TBR for a very long time, so could be really good options for reading down my physical TBR and getting to things that haven't been top of the pile. So I'm just going to mention that I'm going to have them with me on a digital copy, so they are possibilities, and Fury Born as well. So those are some options. I know there are probably plenty of other things on KU. If you have any other recommendations for me of things that are on there that you think would be good for reading whilst away, I'm sure there are plenty of other things on there. Like I have spotted that Spark of the Everflame is on there, and Done and Dusted, is that Done and Dusted? So there are a few other things that I have just on my radar down from KU, just trying to make the most of it, I guess, whilst I have those 3 months subscription. That's that. Those are ideas for whilst I'm away. I'm obviously not going to get to all of those, that would be impossible, but just some ideas. When I get back in mid-September, obviously I will have the second half of the month, so there will be other books that I would potentially want to get to, and things that I haven't taken with me that I own physically, or things that have been releasing. So in terms of when I get back, I do have just on my TBR of things that I would like to get to. I did not get to The Nightshade God by Hannah Witten this month. This is the third and final book in the Nightshade Crown series, so I would like to get back to this series and wrap it all up. I would also like to get to A Grave Robbery at some point, the 9th book in the Veronica Speedwell series by Diana Raybon, which is a fun time mystery of the week series. And then me, Vish and Sam do plan to start our next buddy read, and that would be reading the Jasmine Throne trilogy by Tasha Suri. So this first book would be a reread for me, but then being able to continue on and finish off this trilogy by the end of the year, because I planned to do that for last year and I didn't. So this is an Indian inspired epic fantasy series. There are also some new releases that I won't have whilst I'm away. So I have pre-ordered Kata Basis by R.F. Kwang, which is her new release. So following, I think it's two students as they go to rescue their professor from hell and the journey that they take there. And as I mentioned, Lady of Starfire, that is coming out the very end of August. That one, I'm wrapping up that series. I'm sure there are going to be other things that are going to be coming onto my radar, but who knows when I will get to them, like Among the Burning Flowers by Samantha Shannon, that comes out in September. Alchemized by Senden Yu, that one comes out in September. Theatre of Night by Holly Black, that one comes out in September. Oh, so many things that are coming out in September, and I haven't even got to the things that came out in July and August yet. So there is a chaotic pile of possibilities of things that I am going to be reading over the next few weeks as we move from August into September, and some ideas for whilst I am away. Let me know how your reading has been going through August and your plans for September, and if you have any recommendations for books that are on Kindle Unlimited, specifically within the UK, because I did see a whole selection of things like Lady of Starfire on KU, but not in my country, so I can't take that one with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!